Oftentimes, when discussing the sport of boxing, I find myself talking about fighters from all weight divisions and the pros and cons of following fighters across the divisions of boxing. There are a number of fans of the sport that just do not have an interest in watching the lighter weights. However, if we look closely, the lighter weights are going to set the boxing world on fire over the next couple of years, as long as the proper fights get made. And one of them is currently under negotiation right now. That would be bantam and super bantamweight champions Fulton Inoue. Word has it that they're in talks to have a showdown. And if that be the case, for this spring, boxing is about to really get lit. Let's talk about it a little more. Fulton Jr., super bantamweight champion of the world, has been looking for better and greater challenges. He is a fighter that is dynamic, a throwback to those that we can recall in recent memory, like Pernell Whitaker, Stevie Johnston. Yeah, guys who could box, control and dictate the tempo of a fight. And as legendary coach and trainer Nazim Richardson used to speak, swim without getting wet. That's what Cool Boy Steph does. And he is looking for challenges that may bring out the best in what he has to offer. Because after defeating 8 opponents that were undefeated and becoming unified champion, he's looking for the next big thing. And there has been a big thing just below. At bantamweight, Inoue, who recently became undisputed and has now elected to vacate those undisputed titles to move up and face bigger challenges. And that is very good for the sport of boxing, because when you talk about facing bigger challenges, there is none bigger presently, greater presently, than Cool Boy Steph for Inoue. Now, according to an article published earlier today, January 18th, 2023, Boxing News 24, link will be in the description, has an article that states Inoue and Stephen Fulton are in negotiations for super bantamweight clash in spring, possibly in Japan. The article by Jake Tiernan states WBC and WBO super bantamweight champion Stephen Fulton and Inoue monster Inoue have begun negotiations for a fight in the spring in Japan. Inoue will be giving away size and reach against Fulton, who is one of the best boxers in the sport. It's fair to say that if Inoue can't land one of his big bombs to score a knockout, he is going to end up getting outboxed by Fulton. Fulton's super high punch volume could overwhelm Inoue, as the Japanese star has a low work rate because of his habit of loading up on his shots, always looking for quick knockouts. If Fulton throws over 1,000 plus punches in the fight, which he frequently does in his fights, Inoue will be miserable. I just want to say about that particular opening statement with that article. Both fighters have attributes that have found them to be very successful in what they do. Now, as far as Cool Boy Steph, he's 28 years old. He's an orthodox fighter who stands 5'6.5" and a 70-inch reach. He is a boxer. Out of his 21 victories with no defeats, he has only 8 KOs, which means that he's usually not there standing in the midst of the action to get the job done. But you have to understand, when fighters are faced with real challenges, the best laid plans can go out the window. And that's where a fighter like Monster Inoue may bring out something different from Cool Boy Steph. With his devastating record of 24-0 and 21 KOs, Inoue is a fighter that comes in at the age of 29. He's orthodox. He's 5'5" with a 67.5-inch reach. He's a power puncher. He has been known to stop guys late, like he did Paul Butler in his last outing in December of 22, or he can stop them early, like he did in his rematch in June of 22 against Nonito Donaire, stopping Donaire in the second round. His fights with Jason Maloney and Donaire prior to Maloney in 2020 and 2019 saw him go the distance against Donaire the first go around and stop Maloney in the 7th round. Emmanuel Rodriguez, who was an undefeated fighter when he faced Monster in May of 2019 was stopped in the second round. He was down 3 times. Monster can punch, and this is a classic boxer versus puncher matchup. And that's what's exciting, because the old adage that is often spoken of now, but really people take out of context, styles make fights, means that when you have contrasting styles where one's strength is the aggressor as a puncher and the other's strength is as a fluid, agile, expert of technical boxing with footwork, when those contrasting styles come together, it can make for a very interesting fight, because the aggressor knows that he has to do things to slow the mover down. And the mover understands that that's what his game plan is, so he has to do simple adjustments to offset that even further. And at the top of the sport, it becomes a psychological battle. That's what's exciting about these fighters, and the fact that they're going to come together. Inoue has shown that he can get at people. One of the questions that will have to be answered is, will his power carry to the higher weight? We already know that Stephan is a bigger man than he, but he does not necessarily want to stand in the eye and give Monster a chance to get those blazing shots off against him, because it will let us know whether or not he has a chin. Observing the knockouts that Monster has had in his previous fights, if he hits you clean, in the words of former legendary trainer Georgie Benton, you'll be the deadest SOB in the cemetery. He can punch, Monster. And we want Steph to keep his chin out of harm's way. So he's going to have to be elusive. Don't try to be a tough guy. Don't play the Meldrick Taylor game that Mel played against Julio Cesar Chavez. Also stated by Georgie Benton, win this one, look good next time. So you'll have to do what you have to do. Now, we don't know about Inoue's strength factor at the higher weight, because it's going to prove to be either a factor or a non-factor. Steph, being the bigger man naturally, may have to implement tactics of being physical in there. And that physicality will let us know whether or not Monster is up for it. But we'll have to see, won't we? It's great that these two men are going to come together like this. Truly. And if the arrangement can be made and this fight could be decided for spring, it's going to be amazing. The article goes on to state that one thing to note about Inoue is that he doesn't react well when getting hit a lot. In his fights against David Carmona and the first match against Nonito Donaire, he was visibly upset with all the shots he was taking and lost his cool. Inoue might go to pieces if Fulton averages 100 punches thrown per round, and he might not be able to handle getting hit 50 to 60 times per round without bailing out. That remains to be seen. It sounds like someone who's speaking from an angle. These are champions, and you don't know until someone is put to the test. Never underestimate what a fighter may be able to do under the lights when tested. They will either rise to the occasion meet the challenge or crumble under. But we have to see it first. There have been plenty of opportunities in past that this rings true. You have to understand that fighters will go in there with the intent of doing the best that they can and fall to pieces. Fighters will go in there nervous as they have ever been and have the performance of a lifetime in scoring a victory. You just don't know. But early depiction of what may happen is simply the observation of looking at Cool Boy and how he comes across in the sport as a competitive fighter who looks to do his best each and every time out and is seeking out challenges. He's also thinking about moving up. And that's a great thing, because at his age, he's in his prime, and after a challenge like Inoue, the sky is the limit. I want to see these two men come together because they're the best at their weight divisions. And it's an exciting opposition of styles. What do you think? I think we're in for one heck of a ride when these two men come together. Let me know what you think. This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let's see what happens when these two forces come together. The irresistible force against the immovable object. You decide who is who. No, better yet, they will decide who is who when they come together. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.